Well, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It is an absolutely gloriously dark Saturday morning over here. However, I am feeling like absolute shit today, so hopefully we can get through this one. But most importantly, it is a weekend, so if there's any time to feel like shit, now would be the time, as once again, we get to play the game of ranges of shit and piss. So enjoy, as the weekend ranges are pretty much set here. Although I do want to follow up on yesterday's short-term target as well. I was looking for a move to the downside, somewhere around 10,000 bucks. Bitcoin doesn't seem like it wants to give it right now. However, over the weekend, that is like the twilight zone, as I like to think about it, for trading, especially assets that typically trade, on a 24/7 scale. When you have, some sort of derivative of it trading on a more normal scale, like the, traditional market scale for CMEs, then typically over the weekend, just going to be ranging. Although every once in a while we do see a breakout here or there, but we'll be discussing exactly what sort of triggers would be looking for on that sort of information. Anyways, looking at the open interest over here, pretty much the same thing as yesterday. Bitcoin dominance, pretty much the same thing as yesterday as well. Fear and greed index, literally the same thing as yesterday as well. I think it's safe for us to say that we can go straight to the charts today and waste no more time. So going over here into our, is this a 4 hour? Yeah, it is a 4 hour. Let's actually start off with the daily right now. Going into the daily right here, what did Bitcoin do that is of interest right now? Well, there's two competing things. First and foremost, it did get the 10 simple moving average closing above on yesterday's daily total close. Now, coming into a weekend like this, do I really put a lot of weight on that? No, not at all. Only for like a very short-term time frame move, of which the short-term time frame ranges are the same as what we've been looking at for the past few days. 10.5 to the upside, 10,000 to the downside, if you just want like the fucking straight and dirty right there. But more importantly, we also do see that the 21 exponential moving average and the green 55 exponential moving average have also crossed to the downside right here as well. This one's a very powerful one to me. However, this happening over a weekend or being confirmed over a weekend does make me a little bit more, what's the word that I'm looking for, hesitant to look for this to have any major weight as it is right now. In fact, what I really want to see is what CMEs are doing right here. And as you can see right here, they're actually nowhere near crossing. So I'm much more hesitant, or I'm much more inclined to be hesitant until I can see it on CME, especially when we don't see them trading for the weekend, as typically speaking, we're just going to be trading around the medium-term time frame range, of which we can actually just go down into our lower-term time frame range right here and plot it out right now. Literally the same thing as what we spoke about yesterday. I made the top side more of a liquid zone between about 10,550 to 10,600 for the lower-term time frames, which we can shove in another blue box. And by the way, if I sound like all sorts of fucked up right now, I can't really tell if I sound all sorts of fucked up, but it's because I must have gotten like not enough sleep last night or something. I actually feel sick, which is kind of strange. I actually had a doctor's appointment yesterday, so hopefully I didn't hopefully I didn't pick anything up from the doctor's appointment. But you know what? The show must go on, and well, I need to do this for myself anyways. Gotta set up the weekly, the weekend trades, or lack thereof, more like. Anyways, so as always, when it comes down to the weekend, I'm basically looking for trades, anywhere around here, anywhere around here. Of course, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but typically speaking, we don't really break ranges over the weekend, except for the very, 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 very short-term time frames. Now, if I did have to call this right now, and if I did have to if I did have to like live or die by it, which I think would be very, very silly, and more importantly, when I feel like, I'm forced into a situation like that, I'm more inclined to just not trade at all. In fact, that's usually a damn good signal that it would not be a good time to be trading. But if I did have to call this one right now, looking at momentum oscillators, looking at historical volatility percentile, and looking at 4-hour Joule as well, I would be looking for a test to the top side of this range. So it looks like my my short-term area yesterday of 10,000 bucks probably won't be hit, at least first. I'd probably be looking for the test of the top side of resistance right here. What's also of interest on the very low term time frames is that we actually do have a nice stair step up, and we are somewhat reverting the trend right here, getting a higher high on the 4-hour and printing a higher low right here as well. So we would be expecting continuation up to this next level right here, about 10,550 to 10,600 region. The same sort of implications that we had throughout this whole week, and maybe even a little bit of the week prior, still hold for myself as well. As long as we are living below here, there's no major bullish activity to be spoken about. Even above there, I wouldn't necessarily call it major. I'd just call it another medium-term time frame move up to the next liquid zone, somewhere around 10,900 to 11,000 bucks. Now, yes, I do have it quite significantly below that region right now, but I want to be a little bit more encompassing of this region. But if I really wanted to, solidify it up, I'd do something like this and make it somewhere between exactly 10,900 and 11,000 bucks. So if Bitcoin does take this 10.6 region right here on a 4-hour total closure, I would extend those targets another 400, 500 bucks essentially up up into this liquid zone right here. The same sort of implications for this area going forwards as well as it was on the downside, the same for the upside too. And if Bitcoin does retake this area, then that's at the point where I just basically become more or less bullish on the daily, looking for this to be, a slow trudge to the upside, maybe faster, maybe more fast and slow. But overall, the targets 211.3 would be had, also the 4-hour 200 simple right here, and then 11.5. It would be the same range as what we looked at throughout the whole month of August actually. So realistically, it just be going from range to range with the overall bias of long term up. Anyways, because this is weekend, what is most likely to happen? What's most likely to happen on a weekend is this. And if you've been trading Bitcoin for even 1 week, you probably already know this. No, okay, maybe a little more than that. But what's probably going to happen, we're going to test this side right here. And in the same 5 seconds, we will also test this side right here at $10,000 as well. So keep an eye on that. And I feel like my energy is coming back after doing a little bit of talking. You know what? These streams are healing. As always, man, I'm getting probably more out of it than anyone else. Well, I guess this is the daily rituals, man. People always say like, I like to watch your videos in the morning when I'm freshly awake. It's like, yeah, man, me too. Like me too. Like this is what I do on a daily basis. Essentially, it is the daily rituals, and my day ain't complete without doing it. So yeah, looking at this right here, if I did have to call this, I do think that looking for 10,000 yesterday, actually do think that it probably overall happens, but very unlikely over the weekend. I think that we're more or less setting up for another test of the top side of resistance right here. Probably does not take it over. In fact, I'd be very surprised if it does take it over, even right here at about 10.5 or 10.6, and I'll just be looking for Bitcoin to very likely come back down to the mid side of the range when CME is open for trading tomorrow night, or sorry, I guess maybe not tomorrow night, but tomorrow early evening, I guess, at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. So realistically, what I'm saying is it's probably better to just be going out and living your life right now. Except I have no life, so it doesn't matter for me. But for you, for everyone else out there who you have like a family or something, well, go for it, man. Today, this would probably be a good time to be doing something, in that direction. Then again, you never know. Anyways, to the downside, the same sort of implications below 10,000 as well. Either a 4-hour total closure below 10,000 even, or a 12-hour or daily closure below 10.1. Both would make me bearish for an overall move, actually all the way down here with bounces along the way. So this would be a targeted region of 9,100, bounces implied at 9,450, and again at 9,700. And more importantly, this would also match up with one of the biggest, baddest, good old can't even say it right now, but the points of control right here, right in this region. So if Bitcoin did lose this current $10,000 region, yes, I would be looking for a test down here. And that's actually at the point where I would start be looking for an extremely strong bounce, potential reversal as well. And that's where I'm interested in perhaps long-term trades. So as it is right now, kind of like wrapping up my thoughts on both the short-term and the long-term. Short-term, more or less sideways here. Don't really think that we're going to choose a direction on the range. I think that it's more likely we just test the sides of the ranges. I don't really have any natural proclivity towards it. And this is a great time for me to have a healthy amount of, I don't have any natural proclivities towards this. I'm not interested in trading this. Perhaps I'll take trades on the sides of the, on the ranges, but overall, not when we're smack dab right in the fucking middle of this. That is just trading suicide in my opinion. But hey, if you're making money doing all of that kind of stuff and more, then more power to you. I'm actually legitimately happy for you, and perhaps I should be learning some from you as well. In fact, I would have some to learn from you, as that is certainly not my game at all whatsoever. Anyways, so as it is right now, on the higher term time frame scale, could it be that we set in a major low right here? Yes, this could be a macro low if those conditions are met that we spoke about earlier. First and foremost, taking out 10.5 or 10.6 on a daily or 4-hour closure respectively. 12-hour could use for the 10.5 region as well. Even like 10.4 probably does it too. And then initiates move back up here. But it's not until we're back above about 10.9 to 11,000 where I'd really be comfortable calling this an overall, just an overall melt up once again. By the same token, to the downside, if this area does fail, I'd be looking for another potential reversal down around 9,100. If 9,100 fails, then it's back to inspirational posts on crypto Twitter, isn't it? Because a lot of people are going to be washed out by a move down all the way to about 7,500-ish region. So right now, I don't really want to commit to anything. I don't think that it's wise to do that. And overall, from looking at the daily, we have competing narratives right here essentially. So what I'd more or less be looking for to happen is a test to the upside, and then probably sometime around around tomorrow when CME's open. If this cross does want to play out, I'd probably look for a move somewhere around, yeah, actually about 10.5, 10.6. And then if we see a rejection right there, that would be a damn good indication that we're very likely to come back down and not only test 10,000, but probably break 10,000. But as it stands right now, this is essentially a front run of the 200 exponential moving average. Still, it's a positive slope. We could also define this as as a gap fill on CMEs right here too. I know a lot of people would disagree with this, but I'd be very interested to know if those people have a lot of experience with that. Not to like throw shade at anyone, but I'm just curious, like, where do people get this idea? When it comes down to gaps, there's no like specific science with it. What you're typically looking for is you're just looking for activity that suggests that people are actually playing it, and there's no like black or white way of doing it. I mean, that's why, you find a lot of people very frustrated with trading, because a lot of the time it's not black or white. There's a lot of shades of gray, to quote a bad movie, and or maybe a good movie depending upon who you are. And so I would consider this essentially a gap fill right here. I mean, what you're looking for is a move down towards this region, and you want to see liquidity grabbed up. You see that right fucking here, man. I mean, this is clear as goddamn day. 9,900 low, but trades all the way down to 9,900 low, and then pops back up towards 10.6 on a closing basis. I mean, that's, what more do you want right there? That's a $600-$700 move all in the same day. I think that would be very relevant to say that that's been filled right there. So my point is that if Bitcoin comes back down to test around 10,000 bucks, am I looking for that play to happen? Once again, no. That's why I do not have that area really marked off, except for a very, very short-term time frame bounce. And again, I strongly believe this would not even happen over a weekend anyways. If it is going to happen, probably happens next week, but we'll be looking at world markets kind of fall upon that and see if we're still in a reversal-ish type posturing or not. And as I said, CMEs do not have that same sort of potential cross in play as well. Also do not retake the 10 simple moving average as well. In fact, major moving averages from the daily right here on CMEs are very unhelpful. In fact, we haven't really gotten a good read on them ever since like May of this year. So I think that it's more or less just a moot point right now. Anyways, going back into Bitcoin right here, let's go over the lower term timeframes just to see what's up here. But like I said, weekend bullshit. Looking at 4-hour stocks, looks like they do want to cross back up to the upside, hitting this trend line right here that was set in on the 4th of September lows, and this would also be protecting against the bullish control zone right here. So naturally, you typically will see a little bit of counter trend pressure in that way. What's interesting about this though is that the 4-hour stocks have been coming down this whole way, while Bitcoin price action has been more or less sideways, while essentially getting extremely close to this trend line. And I would even say that this is you could even argue that this tick is it, or maybe next tick is what you'd expect to see if this is going to get another test back up to this region right here. Does it imply that we're going to break this region right here? Again, no. What we could look for with regards to that, oh, nice, play some goddamn music in the morning too. It's beautiful. Anyways, Elsa, god damn it. She's looking at me weird right now. She's getting ready because we're going to go to out to eat. But overall, where was I? Yes. So 4-hour stocks would suggest that we do test around that region, but it's really the very, 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 very low time frame historical volatility percentile that I kind of look for to suggest if we have enough, oomph or huevos to go and break it. For all the Hispanic speaking people out there, which I grew up in California, so I kind of know a little bit. Not really. I think I took it for like a few years in middle school or something. And I don't really know much. Same thing with French as well. I took it for like 3 years. I can say just about nothing, but I am going there actually this year, I think. So looking forward to that. Anyways, looking at this right here, is this an exact science? No, not at all. But overall, we can kind of draw in a regression right here. Hourly would suggest that we probably do test around this trend line. But overall, this is still within the concept of the contraction phase. So that would suggest to me that, yes, we are going to test either the top side or the bottom side of this range, but we're unlikely to break it right now. We're still within the greater context of a contraction phase, which is looking to be resolved probably around the 14th or 15th when this becomes about 75% full. And that would be early next week. So, and that kind of flows with what we think about CMEs as well, or at least what I think about CMEs. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. But overall, I highly doubt that we're going to get a break of either side of this range over the weekend. Can I be wrong about that? Yes. That's why the ranges are well defined. But overall, that has been the trend for, well, basically as long as CMEs have been open. Actually, that's not necessarily true though, because we do get breaks in the same direction as the daily trend of the week prior. We have seen those happen over the weekend. In fact, we saw one to the upside over here. I mean, that was what created this gap over here. So yes, the daily trend was up on the way in, boom, and to the downside, I believe, over here too. But probably not the best time to be talking about that. Getting all bifurcated in my analysis right now. So Looking at the hourly, by the way, we actually do see momentum heading down right now, but I'm curious if the lower term timeframes all agree with that. Keep in mind that 4-hour does look like it's technically not crossing up right now, but it is loosening its grip as it is. Looking at 2-hour, it is nice and healthily up, also forming this trend line right here, which we are now my charts are just way too convoluted, but you know exactly where it's coming in around, basically where we are right now. So a little bit competing things going on there, which makes me think that more or less it's just going to range. I know they keep repeating myself on that, but as we go through all the different datas, when you typically don't see everything kind of line up with each other, it should be obvious, and when you see all these differing signals, it's usually a damn good thing to, at least in my experience, to just wait and wait for a more obvious thing, and that would be a good time to be doing, usually on the weekends, historically speaking. Anyways, looking at the medium term timeframes, what do we have here? 12-hour looks a little bit more pumpy as well to me, for another test back up to 10.5, maybe 10.6 as well. We do see 12-hour regain the 200 simple right here as well. It's not really that much to write home about. We do still have potential hidden bearish, or actually no, sorry, we do not have hidden bearish divergence in play. There's no hidden bearish divergence here on any time frame. With the advent of what happened yesterday, as Bitcoin is no longer in a confirmed downtrend on these timeframes as it is. Doesn't mean that it still can't come about, but as it is right now, no, all of those reads are not going to be available because Bitcoin is technically in a little bit of a reversal on the short-term timeframes, putting in a higher low right here and a higher high above this guy right here as well. So that goes through again as well. And what else do we have to look at on the 12-hour right here? Yeah, we see 12-hour Stokes headed nice and healthily up. Do we have any trend lines to be aware of here? Yes, we do. It's a little bit higher, or I guess I already have it in there, a little bit higher than where we are right now. Probably takes another tick or two to meet it. So it will be a consideration of around when? Around tomorrow, about the time when CMEs open back up again for trading. So things are setting in, but like I said, if I had to call it, if you put a gun to my head and said, Krown, figure it out, you fuck, or you're dead, I would probably say, hey man, it's just magic and money, it's not that, so there's more important things, man. I'd be looking for a top, a test to the top side, 10.5, 10.6, probably rejection there, probably comes back down to the mid side of the range by the time that CMEs open up tomorrow for trading once again. Maybe that accompanies another quick down here to 10,000 as well, because that would just be extra good to fuck everyone up. So fair enough. What about daily? Do we see daily momentum also is turning up here too? Turn it up, baby. Whoops, that's not what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at is this. Yeah, they are turning up right here. Do we see any trend lines forming? No, we do not, at least not as it is right now. So what does that mean? Well, it's pretty weak right now. I don't really see it accompanying any break of any major range here. If we do see, however, this would actually be something, this is probably maybe the most important thing that I'd be looking for a potential break to the upside this day. If it were to happen, I would be looking for daily stocks to remain to the upside. Yes, okay, we already got that. But then also needs to break this range right here, technically 10,450, although I have been saying 10,500, all one and the same. And yes, I would be looking for that next move up to basically around 11,000, and at that point you really have to be looking at this cross right here, which again is not present on CMEs and also happened during the weekend, as very likely to be a fake out. So a lot of the times you will get stuff like this, and it works both to the upside and the downside, but I'll show you a quick example right here. Okay, so great. Whenever you see these two major moving averages get very, 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 very close to each other, like you see right here, and they don't actually cross, but price action gets accumulated around them, well, usually it's going to be a fake out. Like a lot of people are probably front running this cross right here, thinking that, oh, we're just going to drop on through. And, to be fair, there's a lot of things actually in that, around that point suggesting that as well. But what happens is as soon as Bitcoin regained it, that's when we really started to get bullish right here on the break of 9,300, I believe it was. Yes, 9,300. You can go back to the videos around this time on 21st of July to reference that. And then, well, you're not always going to get a move like this, but a pretty impressive move nonetheless. We also see it, I can also show you an example to the downside as well. Here's a great one right here. Bitcoin almost gets the bullish cross on these two babies once again, but what happens straight as they were about to cross, massive girthy red dildo being shoved in our faces, and then down we go. There's several other examples. This is a beautiful one right here too, because it just grinded up for so fucking long. It is this one's diabolical in my opinion, but never technically crossed back up to the upside after getting the bearish cross right here, and then eventually does teeter on over. So it's very important that confirmations are had on these sorts of things, and preferably during real trading hours. Not that like the money that you make on the weekends is not real. Of course it is. Just most professional traders are only trading on a on a traditional scale. Anyways, so that means most of the liquidity is there too. Anyways, okay, what else we want to check out? Maybe let's go check out Nasdaq Futures. Or do we still have a potential reversal in place? Yes, we do. We closed around the lows for the weekly. This is pretty much what I wanted to see in order to very likely look for another drive lower towards about 10.5 coming into next week. Maybe maybe the week after that as well. It could be that we spend a small week bouncing within this region. I wouldn't mind to move back up to 11.3. Definitely possible, but overall I do believe that the direction is down here. We have major bearish divergence being confirmed. We closed on new lows, by the way, also breaking the 10 simple, and this is accompanying again what we see right here, 1 2 3 stabs of bearish divergence, also losing the exponential moving average right here, and also getting hit out of the bullish control zone right there. This is the first time in a long time where I've been looking at this on the macro scale as potentially putting in a major top. So this is quite a big deal for me, and this is also, of course, again accompanying the same sort of area that we saw hit after like a 2 or 3 month measured move. So this was this was going all the way back towards like March of this year, with this big one right here hitting the 2 spot extension on the fibs. On this one right here for a smaller formation, it just goes back about a month or two, a couple months to July, but still both have very big implications. And while we did hit the, whenever you hit extensions like this, it usually is going to be a good sign, at the very least, for a nice strong pullback. And those are typically, some of the more extended ones anyways, by the nature of it. So I do think that it's still possible that there is a top in play here with the way that we closed. In fact, that would be my main disposition as it stands. We got major divergences. We got major, we're breaking major moving averages. We have, a toppy dildo in place as well. And if we go over here to the monthly, we can also reveal this as well. This has been building for a very long time, although the monthly still looks bullish to me. The problem with the monthly is that if we close anywhere above 11,000, I actually have to be bullish on that coming into next month, which is kind of crazy. It's just one of my rules, but I don't think it plays out, although it is one of my rules, and I have to follow my rules. It's like bad programming. Monthly Jewel is building up a pretty damn big sell signal here too. Not there just yet, but it is building, and maybe over the next, if this starts to curve around, especially if the pink and the white get negative slopes alongside the blue, then perhaps around early 2021, that signal would actually flash, and that would very likely bring us back down to I won't say it right now, but it'd bring us back down below 5 digits. I'll put it that way, and more and more. And we still do have potential bearish evidence present on the monthly as well, also meeting this trend line going back from our highs in actually December 2017, by the way, which Bitcoin was at about 20,000 during that time as well. But the monthly, for what it's worth right now, is not all that bad. It's just potentials, and the weekly can build upon that. Assuming that it fails to bounce basically anywhere within this region right now before end of month, then yes, the reversal will be a topic of discussion for the monthly as well. But for right now, it's just a weekly thing. So if I'm just looking at the weekly, next area that I'm looking towards is like anywhere between 10.4 and 10.5, and I'd be looking for a big bounce there as well. And I do think that Nasdaq probably does head down there. Let's go check out how E-mini futures for SPY closed as well. They actually didn't break the 10 simple here, which is a little bit better. But overall, same sort of reads on weekly RSI. 1 2 3 stabs of bearish divergence out of the bullish control zone you go, and weekly Stokes coming down as well, of which we actually did see the same thing on Nasdaq Futures, so I failed to point it out. But every time that we've seen weekly Stokes cross down from this region, let's just kind of see what happened. That got this high right here. If you can match them up, got this high right here. Again, these were in the context of the greater trend. It was still an uptrend, but these are still given major trades. I mean, we're talking all the way down from 3,000 to 2,700 on this one, which was probably the weakest one of them all. More recently, right around here, it looks like it, before the Corona dump, and right around here before this major massive dump as well, and then right around here as well. So at the very least, all of these get down to the 55 exponential moving average, and some of them get down all the way to like the 200, or in this case the 377, which is extra diabolical. But looking at this right here, 55 would be, for reference, somewhere right around 3,100. Anyways, regardless of that, if I am matching this one up with Nasdaq, I would be looking for next week or the week after that, very likely to come back down and test around 3,200ish region. Here's how the monthly looks here as well. Yeah, I did just get a backfill as well. So, you know, it's a little bit, it's tight margins right now. The monthly trend can still remain to the upside, while the weekly trend does come down to those levels and bounce. So I wouldn't necessarily get, I still think it's a little bit premature to be calling like a full-on reversal. It's just we've been slowly building this as time goes on. Slowly as the new signals come in. Okay, all right. I'm getting some messages that Kevin Swenson mentioned me on his stream. That's awesome, man. I love Kevin. We actually go back a long time. I met that guy like 2 years ago. I mean, virtually, I guess, but still, man, he always seemed pretty damn cool, and it's good to see that he's getting a massive increase in subscribers. He's getting a lot of attention right now, which is great. He definitely deserves it. He's been pretty level-headed in a sea of of things that are left to be a lot left to be desired, I guess is the saying. But yeah, man, he's one of the guys alongside a few others that I think are good. You know, they have good reads on the market. We might not agree on everything. We might not do the same style, but we don't need to trade the same style in order to make money. In fact, people can trade all sorts of weirdness and still be successful. So fair enough, man. You know, massive shout out to him and massive thank you, man. If you're listening to this right now, you're awesome. Anyways, okay, what else we want to check out? What about Eurodollar? How did this little piece of shit end? Sorry, just kidding. But seriously, I fucking hate this thing. Make my dollar more powerful, please. 118.5. Still operating below the liquid zone. It's putting in so much time within this region. I guess it is a little bit humbling when you look at the monthly and you realize, it's unlikely to turn down below 117 this month, but anywhere below 119.5 still has the same implications. I would be looking for an ultimate high around here, hitting the 200 exponential average on the monthly, and an overall 12-year long downtrend going back to February, May of 2008. And while I do think that it probably grinds this area out, and this would also be further enhanced by the weekly view, as long as we are operating below this area right here, yes, I do think that it puts in a high. That also means if it takes out this area, 119.5 on a weekly closure, I'm looking for moves towards 121 and then 1.25. I'd fucking hate it. My bank account would absolutely hate it. I'm an American who makes mostly dollars, or I keep my money in dollars, living in Europe, which is a very bad idea if that's going to happen. But hey, fair enough, man. Maybe time to switch everything over. Okay, what else do we have? Of course, not financial advice. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. It's like just a magical statement that makes you safe from any litigation, I guess. I don't know if that actually works. I've actually asked one lawyer about that, and he said maybe not, but probably not. Like if you're actually giving out, because like I asked him straight up, like if you give out straight up financial advice and you're not a financial advisor, but you also say this is not financial advice, would that count as being pursuable? And he's like, probably. Like the courts aren't dumb. Anyways, okay, what else we want to look at? Let's go look at Link. Link's the darlings of this market and bouncing up. Nicely done, Mr. Link. Nicely done. And I think that this one will continue to bounce up, probably back up towards 134 or 135,000 satoshis, more towards sometime this week. Looking good here on the weekly thus far, but still, it's hard to hate an uptrend, to be fair. So there, I really have too much to add onto that. But what I do like about this one, as it is right now, is historical volatility percentile is redlining right here on the daily. Very likely we found somewhat of a local low and are not going to test the upside, at the very least on the medium-term time frames, which I'd hold to that region of like 135,000 satoshis. Daily momentum oscillators are up, but they are a little bit under pressure right there. So if we do fail to see continuation actually sooner rather than later, then that will naturally come back down. And also same thing with daily RSI too. But daily RSI, as it stands right now, does have hidden bullish divergence in play going all the way back on over here. So that is massive higher lows with it. And that would suggest that, again, I'd more or less be looking for this one to pop up versus Satoshi. So most, if this is anything to go off of with most altcoins, which I actually don't know anymore. I feel like the altcoin market is bifurcated nowadays, then what we expect to see is the rest of the altcoin market probably go up as well. And we expect to see Bitcoin dominance come down here, and it is coming down right here. And it probably does test a little bit lower, and that probably does allow something like Link to test up to that region. So most alts versus Satoshis on the very, 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 10 more varies, on the very short term, probably going to be bouncing up, yes. However, I do still look at this area as a very likely bottoming area. and probably going to base off that region. Now, I would change that idea around if we do see basically any low, any lower low printed than what we saw last week at about 58. What is this level? 58.79 on this, on this ticker total, or sorry, BTC.D. Then yes, I would be looking for another drive down lower, and that actually could get really nasty down to like 56%, and that'd really get the altcoin market versus Satoshi's looking really, really good here. But overall, I think that we're much more close to bottoming this out than not. I do not trust indicators on this at all. I do not think that they work, but what I do think works is just looking at this actually more or less as a line chart. You can see very, very easily, on a line chart, maybe we want to get rid of all of that we are kind of in a nice basey area, and this would very likely provide at least a little bit more. I'd actually be looking for things to pop back up towards 64.5, 65%. So, again, contrasting the short-term view with the medium and long-term view, or I guess not even medium view, but long-term view. Short-term, yes, down, which is going to be altcoins versus Satoshi's up. Long-term, I would actually still be looking at this as a major bottoming area, in fact. Let's go back to my dildos over here. I need them early in my life. And what else do we have? Okay, I'm already 30 minutes into this video. Probably 30 minutes, a little bit too long, but... What is this? Okay, getting all sorts of weird notifications today. Let's go over here and check out our secondary chart as well. What's going on in the good old Troll bands right now? I think it would actually be appropriate to throw on a 10 simple with this too. Let me pull this up. I do like to play with these two together. I could also use an EMA as well. Why not, man? I like them more. Sir, why do I literally have to type? Oh yeah, that's right. You have to type it all the way out. Silliness, man, silliness. But what I'll do right here is I'll use a very low period EMA. Actually, that's perfect. A 9 would do well in here. You could also use a 7 as well. It's all the same shit, really. I mean, not gonna be that much different. Let's make it a nice color as well. There you go. All right, beautiful. All right, so shit, that does not matter, by the way. Okay, so looking at this right here, it basically shows us what we already see on, on our primary charts. But overall, if Bitcoin does break above the 9 exponential moving average, which guess where it is? Basically about 10.5, actually $50 lower if you want to be super exact, which I would pretty much keep in that same range. Then I'd be looking for a test all the way back up here towards the 20 simple. And where is that? 11,000 about. So, we just have more things agreeing with each other. And then also MACDs are converging on each other a little bit. The histogram has definitely loosened its grip, but again, it's very difficult to ignore this overall read here as we are increasing momentum to the downside the whole way through. So to me, this would likely, if it does cross again to the upside, probably bring us back around the 0 read, which would imply some upside, but still, you typically do look for a counter trend action around that time as well. So again, to be fair, that would mean short-term and medium-term direction is up here, but we haven't even seen that cross to begin with, first and foremost. But here's what I would be looking for, and here's what would make me really, 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 really interested in this price action. And I'll even go ahead and say it right now, because we're in the TA nerd session right here. If Bitcoin breaks back above 10.5 on like a daily closure, probably does go back to bull mode, back above 11,000. Because we're going to see MACD cross the upside plus a breakage of the range, and so that would be a confirmation that essentially consolidation there is not just done, but we're ready to trend once again. And so, like I said, not only would I be looking for moves up to 11,000, obviously, but 11.3, 11.5, 11.8. It's all the same shit from August. And well, after those areas are broken, then we can talk about 12,000 once again. But for right now, I would still be overall defensive. I'm not saying that Bitcoin can't go down. In fact, I think Bitcoin can very easily go down from here. I just would not really be looking for too much to happen over the weekend. By the way, just for reference, the good old penis of Christian right here is actually way the fuck up there. But if we just focus on this little, on this little consolidation right here, it's actually right around literally the middle of the range, which would make sense. 10,250, again, smack dab in the middle of 10.5 and 10,000 even. Crazy how that works sometimes, man. Crazy how that works. I see Mark's up early. What's up, Mark? I'm just looking at the Discord right now, man. That guy has taught me so much. That guy has taught me so much about fucking virtual reality, and I really want to get into it right now. Anyways, and that crazy motherfucker wants to trade oil all the time too. I don't know why, but go ahead and do it, my friend. I think that he's actually had some pretty damn good times doing it from what I've read. So that is all good. Damn, there's actually a lot of people up in the Discord right now. That's awesome. D Lou, what the fuck's up, man? Empire, my fucking man. AK is there too. Hell yeah, man. Got a full house, and it's not even past barely past 8 in the Eastern European time zone. Jesus, man, you guys sleep less than me. Or maybe you guys didn't sleep any at all last night. Let's go look at Dixie. How did Dixie close out the week? Still have the same things to say here overall with regards to Dixie. I do look at this as very likely in a bottoming area. The question to me is, do we get a slightly lower low here? Do we head down to like 91.5 officially and meet and fulfill the monthly 200 exponential average? I think that it's still possible, but my general disposition on this thing is more or less the same. I think that we're setting in a major low right here, and I really don't have any major reason to think not until we actually do break below 91.5 on a monthly closure. And then, yeah, I could get very, 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 very bearish on this thing all the way down to like 87, 85, and that's just going to send everything into the goddamn moon versus the dollar, but more so because the dollar is faltering than anything else. But as it is right now, on the monthly, we have a lot of things in play. Well, first and foremost, we have a trend that goes all the way back down to 2008. Uptrend starts, well, actually, no, I'd say it more or less starts right here because we do have a little bit of a choppy behavior for a few years there. 2011, so almost a 10-year long trend. This is all coming along the side of a contraction phase on historical volatility percentile, which is actually very, 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 very mature here over the same dates as well, by the way, and would imply that we do get a resolution somewhere around here. Okay, so not even 2021, but like April to somewhere between middle of 2022 and 23, we probably get resolution on this. And when I say resolution on this, I mean either a move, actually like a very big move, either a move below the current range lows, so that would initiate that move down to mid to low 80s actually, or move back up to the top side of this range towards about $100 and beyond. It would imply a breakout there too. This is like a macro a macro contraction phase. On top of that, we actually do have hidden bullish divergence in place, so I do favor the boo laws here as long as we have that potential higher low in place, which we do, and that will be available as long as we are above basically that $91 region. And this is all alongside monthly Stokes coming down all the way to. Now keep in mind there is this trend line that has caught all of the major lows ever since 2003. Most people don't even know that 2003 even exists, but I am here today to tell you that it does. And caught this low right here, caught this low right here, caught this low right here. Trend line caught this low right here again. This low right here again. I'm just matching up. You're free to do this yourself as well. And then this low here more recently. So we are going to hit that trend line probably in the next month or two. And if we are still hanging above the 200 exponential average, I shouldn't say very confident, but I'd feel bullish on the dollar, put it that way. And I do think that hidden bullish divergence on an asset like this would bring us back up towards, at the very least, like $96 and probably beyond it. Again, that's some more conservative target in my estimation. Okay, what else do we have? Gold. What's gold doing? What are you doing, gold? You giant sack of useless fucking rock. It's like, what do you use Bitcoin for? I don't know. What do you use gold for? I guess it's I know that's used in some computer. I know someone's gonna be like, Krown, how fucking dare you shit on my gold? It's like, I didn't shit on your gold, okay? It's still shiny. It's still good. I know that it's used in like computer components. I know it's used for a few things. It would seem to me like it's a very short-sighted endeavor to be putting everything into gold, more or less because it's only a matter of time before Elon Musk starts mining that shit from Mars. It's only a matter of time. Maybe not within our lifetimes, but looking at gold right here, what do you know? We got another test at the top side of 1975. Craziness. And today, or I guess Friday, closing it back down. There's not too much to be said about this. Actually, all momentum oscillators are more bullish posturings here. But personally speaking, I do think that, well, my voice just cracked. You know what? I think I hold reservation for judgment on this one. It's not wise to call this one right here. I actually do think that it will test the bottom side support again at like 1910 or 1914 or whatever this area is, basically along the green 55, about low 1900 essentially. But I'd be unwilling to call a breakage of that as it is. Like I said, all momentum oscillator is actually bullish right now. But and more importantly, the weekly still holds and maintains the 10 simple. I have a rule against getting bearish on that. I think that we played the easy divergence move down already, now haven't we? Yeah, at this point, back down to the edge of the bullish control zone, and what do you know? That comes all the way down from like 2100 down to 1850. Yeah, we could say that probably played out. So I think it's time to just watch this one. Kind of have the same thoughts on this one as I do on Nasdaq, but this one's not as aggressively potentially toppy. Okay. What else do we want to look at? Cardano, the car dealers? Probably not. Probably going to bounce up here too. Most alts for Satoshi's actually looking for bounces here, but overall long term, is this bullish? No, no, it's not. Not really. Unless if you like, well, here's how you can. I've been keeping this secret away from everyone. I've been keeping this secret away from everyone for like my whole life. Do you want to know how to always be right? Do you want to know how to always be bullish on the car dealers over here? Well, my friend, I'm glad that you've asked. I'm glad that you've asked. With that in mind, I will show you my secret right here, right now, with just this one simple trick to make you a real millionaire. And it doesn't even stop there. You can use this all the way to like $1 billion, trillion, quadrillion dollars, an amount that doesn't even exist. And it's like this. You take your left fucking index finger, you take your right index finger, and you do this on your keyboard. You press Alt and then I. Ho! Boolahs, bearahs, be gone! It's time to go up to the fucking moon, because we only go up on great assets like this. For the last 3 years. You're welcome. You can't cash those coins though. But if I've learned anything about anything when it comes to trading, what's more important is your ego over actual results. There you fucking go. All right, so enough of that bullshit, and how about some of this? Oh, God.